What if I told you that a single volcanic eruption almost wiped out humanity? That entire civilizations have disappeared under clouds of ash? And that, right now, a supervolcano beneath our feet could erupt and change life as we know it? Volcanoes are more than just fiery mountains. They are among the most powerful forces in Earth's history. They have shaped continents, influenced the climate, and even sparked legends of lost civilizations like Atlantis. Some eruptions have been so massive that they darkened skies for years, triggered global disasters, and altered the course of history. Welcome to Armchair Archaeology. Today, we're uncovering the most earth-shattering volcanic eruptions in history. Eruptions that didn't just shake the ground, but changed the fate of human civilization. From the destruction of Pompeii to the eruption that turned summer into winter, each one has left an unforgettable mark on the world. What happens next will change everything you thought you knew about volcanic history. One ancient eruption may have nearly erased every single one of our ancestors. If events had unfolded just a little differently, you, me, and everyone we know might not exist. What was this cataclysmic event, and how close did humanity come to vanishing forever? By the end of this video, you'll see just how close humanity came to extinction. Before volcanoes became symbols of destruction, they were the ultimate creators. Without them, Earth as we know it wouldn't exist. Every continent, mountain range, and island has been shaped by volcanic activity, forging the landscapes that became the foundation of human civilization. This process begins deep beneath our feet, where immense heat and pressure churn molten rock. When this magma forces its way to the surface, it cools and solidifies, forming new land. Some of the most breathtaking places on Earth, Iceland, Hawaii, and Japan, owe their very existence to volcanoes. In fact, Hawaii's Big Island is still growing as lava from Kilauea continues to expand its shores. But volcanoes didn't just build the land, they also played a role in creating Earth's atmosphere. Billions of years ago, volcanic eruptions released gases like water vapor, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen, forming the air we breathe today. Without this process, Earth could have remained a lifeless rock, unable to support life. Over time, volcanic minerals enriched the soil, making it fertile and helping plants thrive, which in turn helped shape ecosystems that would one day sustain human civilization. Volcanic forces have also reshaped entire continents. Scientists believe that the supercontinent Pangaea, which existed around 300 million years ago, began breaking apart due to the same underground forces that drive eruptions today. As magma pushed through the cracks in Earth's crust, it created new ocean basins and land masses, eventually forming the continents we recognize now. While volcanoes are often seen as destructive, they are Earth's master architects, shaping the world in ways we rarely think about. Without them, there would be no continents, no atmosphere, and possibly no life at all. Around 74,000 years ago, a supervolcano erupted in what is now Lake Toba, Indonesia, unleashing one of the most powerful explosions in Earth's history. This wasn't just a disaster, it was a planetary event, spewing nearly 3,000 cubic kilometers of ash into the sky. To put that in perspective, that's enough to bury the entire state of Texas under a mile of volcanic debris. The eruption's effects were catastrophic. The massive ash cloud blocked out the sun, plunging the world into a volcanic winter that lasted for years. Global temperatures dropped by as much as 15 degrees Fahrenheit, 8 degrees Celsius, causing crops to fail, ecosystems to collapse, and entire species to struggle for survival. Acid rain poisoned water sources, and thick ash layers choked plant life. In some areas, the sky remained dark for months. Toba's explosion was so powerful that its effects can still be seen today. The enormous Lake Toba, one of the largest crater lakes on Earth, sits inside the remains of the collapsed volcano. But the true scale of the disaster is revealed in layers of volcanic ash found as far away as India and East Africa, evidence of just how far the devastation reached. Do you think a single eruption could nearly wipe out humanity? Drop a comment below before we reveal just how close we came to extinction. But beyond the environmental destruction, this eruption may have had an even more profound impact, one that goes far beyond ash and climate change. Some scientists believe this event shaped the very course of human history in a way that few realize. But we'll get to that later. For now, Toba stands as a reminder that supervolcanoes aren't just history. They are a real threat that could change the world in an instant. Around 1600 BCE, the island of Thera, modern-day Santorini, was home to a thriving Minoan civilization. They built advanced cities, intricate palaces, and a vast trade network that connected them to Egypt and the Greek mainland. But beneath their feet, a catastrophe was brewing. Without warning, Thera erupted in one of the most violent volcanic explosions in recorded history. The eruption sent ash and rock miles into the sky, darkening the sun and triggering a massive tsunami that surged across the Aegean Sea. Some estimates suggest waves may have reached 50 feet high, slamming into the Minoan stronghold of Crete. Coastal cities were wiped out, harbors destroyed, and farmlands covered in volcanic debris. In the aftermath, the Minoans struggled to recover. Their powerful navy was crippled, their economy shattered, and their once mighty civilization began to decline. Though they didn't vanish overnight, many historians believe this disaster set the stage for their eventual downfall, allowing the rising Mycenaeans of mainland Greece to take control. But Thera's eruption may have left behind more than just ruins. It could have inspired one of history's greatest myths. Plato's legend of Atlantis, a magnificent island civilization swallowed by the sea, bears eerie similarities to what happened on Santorini. A once thriving culture, a sudden cataclysm, an island lost beneath the waves. Could this be the real Atlantis? The legend of Atlantis is just one of many civilizations that vanished without a trace. But what if history holds even more mysteries waiting to be uncovered? In our ebook, Secrets of the Ancient World, we dive deep into lost cities, forgotten technologies, and the latest discoveries that are rewriting what we thought we knew. You'll find the link in the pinned comment below. The ruins of Krakatoa, a Minoan city buried beneath volcanic ash, remain one of archaeology's most astonishing discoveries. Multi-story buildings, colorful frescoes, and even furniture have been perfectly preserved, offering an unparalleled glimpse into a lost world, one frozen in time by fire and ash. While Thera's eruption may have contributed to the fall of an entire civilization, another eruption, thousands of years later, would preserve one in chilling detail. Unlike the Minoans, who faded into history, the people of Pompeii left behind a haunting snapshot of life frozen in time. Imagine you're a baker in the bustling streets of Pompeii. The air is filled with the scent of fresh bread, and merchants shout over one another, eager to sell their goods. You glance at Mount Vesuvius in the distance, silent, unmoving, just as it has been for generations. But by tomorrow, everything you know will be buried under a suffocating wave of ash. On August 24th, 79 CE, the people of Pompeii and Herculaneum went about their daily routines, unaware that Mount Vesuvius was about to unleash one of the most infamous disasters in history. The eruption sent a plume of ash and gas 20 miles, 32 kilometers, into the sky, turning day into night. Within hours, red-hot pyroclastic flows, clouds of gas, ash and rock moving at 400 miles per hour, 640 kilometers per hour, raced down the slopes, burying everything in their path. In Pompeii, many people tried to flee, but were quickly overcome by the falling ash, which hardened around their bodies, preserving their final moments. Centuries later, archaeologists discovered these haunting voids in the hardened ash and began creating plaster casts of the victims, revealing people frozen in expressions of fear, pain, or even quiet acceptance. Some were found curled up, shielding their faces, while others clung to loved ones. Herculaneum suffered a slightly different fate. Instead of being buried under ash and pumice, the city was entombed in a superheated wave of volcanic mud. This had an unexpected effect. It carbonized and preserved wood, scrolls, and even food, making Herculaneum one of the best-preserved ancient sites in the world. One of the most chilling discoveries was found in boathouses along the shore, where hundreds of people perished while waiting for rescue. Their skeletons tell a tragic story. Mothers clutching their children, soldiers still gripping their weapons, all trapped by a disaster they never saw coming. Pompeii and Herculaneum aren't just archaeological sites. They are time capsules, perfectly preserving a single devastating moment in history. If you could time travel to one ancient city for a day, which one would you visit? Let us know in the comments. In April 1815, a monstrous eruption shook the island of Sumbawa, Indonesia. Mount Tambora, a volcano few had heard of, exploded with a force more powerful than any eruption in the last 10,000 years. The blast was so violent that it could be heard over 1,200 miles, 1,930 kilometers away, as if an explosion in New York was heard in Miami. But the true disaster was only beginning. Tambora's eruption launched millions of tons of ash and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, creating a thick volcanic haze that wrapped around the planet. Over the next year, the sun's light was dimmed and global temperatures dropped dramatically. What followed was 1816, the infamous year without a summer. In June 1816, a farmer in Vermont woke up to find his wheat fields covered in frost. "Snow in June," he wrote in his journal, "the cows shiver, and we have no harvest." Across the Atlantic, in France, a young mother held her starving child, pleading for bread that no baker could provide. Across North America, Europe, and Asia, crops failed as frost and snow arrived in the middle of summer. In the northeastern United States, farmers watched in horror as June snowstorms destroyed their fields. In China, monsoon patterns collapsed, leading to devastating floods and famine. Across Europe, food riots erupted as entire villages faced starvation. This eerie, sunless year had another unexpected consequence. It changed the course of literature. In the summer of 1816, a group of writers, including Mary Shelley, Lord Byron, and John Polidori, were trapped indoors by the relentless gloom while vacationing in Switzerland. They entertained themselves by writing ghost stories, and out of this strange, apocalyptic atmosphere came Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a novel inspired by the bleak, unnatural skies caused by Tambora's eruption. The Tambora eruption remains one of the clearest examples of how a single volcanic event can disrupt the entire world, affecting everything from agriculture and climate to art and human history. We've explored some of history's deadliest eruptions, but there's still more to uncover. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Earth's most powerful disasters, hit subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming explorations of history's greatest mysteries. On August 27, 1883, the world was rocked by one of the most cataclysmic volcanic eruptions ever recorded. The culprit? Krakatoa, a small volcanic island in Indonesia. The explosion was so powerful that it produced the loudest sound ever recorded in human history, so loud that it was heard over 3,000 miles, 4,800 kilometers away, as far as Australia and the Indian Ocean islands. Some reports say that people 600 miles, 2,175 kilometers away, had their eardrums ruptured by the blast. But Krakatoa's devastation went beyond sound. The eruption generated a column of ash and gas 50 miles, 80 kilometers high, plunging the surrounding region into darkness for days. The force of the explosion displaced so much seawater that it triggered a series of tsunamis with waves over 100 feet, 30 meters tall, slamming into coastal villages. Entire towns vanished, and at least 36,000 people were killed, though some estimates suggest the true number was even higher. The effects of Krakatoa weren't just regional, they were global. The massive amount of ash and sulfur dioxide it released into the stratosphere lowered global temperatures for years, creating bizarre, vivid red sunsets around the world. These eerie, blood-red skies are even believed to have inspired famous artwork, such as Edvard Munch's The Scream. When the dust finally settled, over two-thirds of Krakatoa had disappeared, quite literally blown apart by its own eruption. But the volcano wasn't finished. In 1927, a new island, Anak Krakatau, child of Krakatoa, began to rise from the sea, proving that the Earth's most explosive forces are far from dormant. Today, it remains active, a constant reminder of nature's unpredictable power. For ancient civilizations, volcanoes weren't just geological phenomena. They were the homes of gods, the gates to the underworld, and the work of supernatural forces. Without scientific explanations for eruptions, people turned to mythology to understand the earth-shaking explosions and rivers of fire. In Hawaiian mythology, the fiery eruptions of Kilauea were believed to be the work of Pele, the goddess of volcanoes. She was said to shape the land with her molten fury, but she was also a creator, constantly expanding the islands. Even today, Hawaiian tradition warns against taking lava rocks from Kilauea, as they are said to be part of Pele's spirit. Stealing them is believed to bring misfortune. In the Andes, the Incas believed volcanoes were the resting places of powerful spirits. When Sabancaya erupted, they saw it as a warning, an omen that the gods were displeased. To appease them, priests climbed its slopes, leaving offerings of gold and coca leaves. The Romans and Greeks linked volcanoes to their gods of fire. The very word volcano comes from Vulcan, the Roman god of fire and metalworking. They believed Mount Etna was his forge, where he crafted weapons for the gods. Similarly, the Greeks saw volcanic eruptions as the work of Hephaestus, hammering away beneath the earth. Some even believed that beneath Mount Vesuvius lay the entrance to the underworld itself. In Japan, the sacred Mount Fuji was thought to be the dwelling place of divine spirits, and eruptions were seen as signs of their displeasure. Meanwhile, the Maori of New Zealand tell stories of how the volcanic mountains of the North Island, Tongariro, Ruapehu, and Taranaki, were gods locked in an eternal battle, shaping the land with their fury. These myths reveal how deeply volcanoes were woven into the lives of ancient peoples. To them, eruptions weren't random. They were messages from the gods, shaping both the land and human destiny. Volcanic eruptions are often remembered for their destruction, but in some cases, they have preserved history better than anything else. When ash buries a city or village, it can create a time capsule, freezing a moment in time for thousands of years. The most famous example is Pompeii and Herculaneum, where the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE buried entire cities under thick layers of ash. Buildings, streets, and even people were preserved in astonishing detail, allowing archaeologists to see life in the Roman Empire exactly as it was on the day disaster struck. But similar cases exist across the world. In China, archaeologists uncovered the ruins of Lajia, often called the Pompeii of the East. Around 4,000 years ago, a sudden disaster, possibly an earthquake, followed by a flood of volcanic mud, buried an entire Bronze Age village. Among the most haunting discoveries was a mother shielding her child, their final moments frozen in time beneath the hardened layers of debris. Volcanic ash doesn't just preserve cities, it also holds clues about ancient climates and ecosystems. Layers of ash, known as tephra, are used by scientists to date archaeological sites with incredible accuracy. Some of the most important discoveries about early human migration, ice age climates, and even mass extinctions have come from studying ash deposits left behind by massive eruptions. While volcanoes have erased entire civilizations, they have also protected their memory. In a world where time erases so much, volcanic ash has helped us see the past as if it were frozen in place, untouched for thousands of years. History has a way of preserving its secrets, sometimes in volcanic ash, sometimes in forgotten texts. If you're fascinated by the hidden stories of our past, check out our ebook, Secrets of the Ancient World, where I explore lost civilizations, ancient technologies, and the latest discoveries using DNA and AI. Grab your copy in the pinned comment. The world has seen devastating eruptions in the past, but what if one of these supervolcanoes erupted today? Some scientists believe it's not a question of if, but when. One of the most closely monitored volcanic systems is the Yellowstone supervolcano in the United States. Beneath Yellowstone National Park, a massive chamber of molten rock sits quietly for now. If it were to erupt, it could unleash more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of ash and lava, covering much of North America in volcanic debris. The last major eruption, 640,000 years ago, left behind a crater nearly 45 miles, 72 kilometers wide, the Yellowstone caldera, which still fuels geysers like Old Faithful today. If Yellowstone or another supervolcano erupted, the consequences would be catastrophic. Scientists predict a volcanic winter similar to what happened after the Toba eruption. The sun could be blocked out for months or even years, causing global temperatures to plummet. Crops would fail, leading to food shortages, economic collapse, and possibly widespread societal unrest. But should we be worried? While Yellowstone is active, scientists say there are no signs of an imminent eruption. Supervolcanoes erupt extremely rarely, with thousands or even millions of years between events. Still, volcanic monitoring has advanced significantly, allowing scientists to track ground deformation, gas emissions, and seismic activity that might indicate trouble brewing below. The Earth's past proves that supervolcanoes have the power to reshape civilization. Whether it happens in our lifetime or thousands of years from now, history tells us one thing: when a supervolcano erupts, the world will never be the same. Volcanoes are often seen as forces of devastation, but they are also essential to life on Earth. While past eruptions have wiped out civilizations and altered climates, they have also created some of the most fertile lands on the planet, allowing human societies to thrive. Some of the world's most agriculturally rich regions, Italy, Indonesia, and Japan, owe their fertile soil to volcanic activity. When lava breaks down over time, it releases nutrient-rich minerals, making the land incredibly productive. That's why people continue to live near active volcanoes despite the risks. The slopes of Mount Vesuvius, which once buried Pompeii, now produce some of Italy's finest wines. In Java, Indonesia, volcanic soil supports millions of people, making it one of the most densely populated volcanic regions in the world. Volcanoes also shape biodiversity. The Galapagos Islands, formed entirely by volcanic eruptions, became an isolated haven for unique species, inspiring Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. In Iceland, volcanic heat powers geothermal energy, providing clean, renewable power to an entire nation. Even underwater volcanoes, known as hydrothermal vents, create extreme environments where life thrives in total darkness, using chemical energy instead of sunlight. Beyond Earth, volcanoes may hold the key to life on other planets. Scientists believe that Mars, Venus, and even moons like Io and Enceladus have volcanic activity, potentially creating conditions where microbial life could exist. Some researchers speculate that Earth's first life forms may have originated near hydrothermal vents, meaning volcanoes could be responsible for life itself. Volcanoes are both destroyers and creators, shaping the world in ways we rarely consider. Without them, there would be no continents, no atmosphere, and possibly no life at all. They have shaped our past, and they will continue to shape our future in ways we have yet to imagine. Throughout history, volcanoes have shaped the world in ways both terrifying and awe-inspiring. They have created continents, wiped out civilizations, triggered global climate shifts, and even inspired myths and legends. From the destruction of Pompeii to the lost civilization of Thera, their eruptions have rewritten history time and time again. But perhaps the most shocking impact of all is the one we teased at the beginning of this video. The Toba supervolcano eruption may have nearly ended the human race. When it erupted 74,000 years ago, it triggered a volcanic winter so extreme that global temperatures plummeted. Some scientists believe this event wiped out entire populations, leaving only a tiny group of survivors, possibly as few as 3,000 people, struggling to endure in isolated pockets of Africa. And here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. If that small group of humans hadn't survived, none of us would be here today. You, me, everyone we know, our entire species might have disappeared, another casualty of Earth's unforgiving history. Every person alive today may be descended from those few survivors, making this eruption one of the most pivotal moments in human existence. But here's the chilling part. Supervolcanoes like Toba still exist. Beneath Yellowstone National Park, a massive magma chamber sits quietly, for now. Scientists say it's unlikely to erupt anytime soon. But if a supervolcano did explode in our lifetime, would we be lucky enough to survive again? The Earth has shown us its power before, and it will again. The only question is, will we be ready? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you love unraveling the past, subscribe to Armchair Archaeology for more epic historical mysteries. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay curious.